Hi there, my name is May, and today I thought we'd talk about shrimp keeping basics while watching some of my shrimp colonies eat. Just a heads up, I did forget that I was filming today, and so my shrimp did eat yesterday. Rookie mistake. But I will be showing as many as show up to eat their little mineral ball. To start with, why would you want to keep shrimp? I think there are many reasons, but I'm going to share with you my top 5. First is their low bioload. They have an extremely low bioload for the amount of shrimp that you can pack into an aquarium. Number 2 is they are always active. I find that they are so much fun to watch. They're always doing something. Even in the dead of night, if I pass by their tank, they're actively scrounging around looking for something, which also makes them great at cleanup crew, which is my third reason. I think they're a great addition to your cleanup crew in tanks such as nano tanks or fish tanks that don't have extremely aggressive or large fish. My fourth reason would be breeding. They're not necessarily difficult to breed, specific types of course, and that can just be so much fun to watch them get happy and acclimated to their aquarium and environment, and then they start producing tiny little shrimplets. And my fifth reason would be that they are colorful. They're fun, depending on which color you go with, because there are so many to choose from. They are sure to add a pop of color to your aquarium. Before we move on and look at a different tank, I wanted to talk about different types of shrimp and what I'm going to be covering in this video and most of my upcoming videos. So there are several different types of shrimp. The most two commonly known are going to be your Neo-Caridina shrimp and your Caridina shrimp. The shrimp that I am keeping right now are all Neo-Caridina shrimp with color variations. And there are a few other types of shrimp, but what I'm mostly going to be focusing on are Neo-Caridina, since that is what I keep and that is what I would recommend for beginners. So if you were looking for information on Caridina shrimp, this might not be the channel for you, at least for a little while. Next, let's talk about the most important thing that I think there is to know about keeping shrimp, which is stability. Shrimp do not like a lot of change, especially sudden changes, so it is very important to keep your water parameters very stable, which can be accomplished by either feeding less or by having a larger tank, so water dilution. Now when it comes to tank size regarding shrimp, we already said that they have a very low bioload for the amount of shrimp that you can have. That being said, a 10-gallon tank is a perfectly acceptable starting point for keeping shrimp in a tank. I personally think a 5-gallon would be a bit too small and a bit harder to maintain stable water parameters, especially if you are a beginner. Speaking of water parameters, the most widely agreed upon parameters for Neo-Caridina shrimp specifically, so I'm not talking about Caridina shrimp or any other kind of shrimp, are as follows. A pH of between 7.0 to 7.6, a GH of 7 to 8, or up to 10 is good, a KH of between 3 to 4, a TDS, or total dissolved solids, of about 200 or so, and the temperature can be anywhere between 68 to maybe 74, 74 being the higher end. Basically, room temperature will work for these shrimp. Now let's talk about filtration. In my personal experience, I have found that sponge filtration of some sort is the best kind of filtration when it comes to shrimp tanks, or tanks that have shrimp. However, I understand that different kind of tanks with different kind of setups might not be conducive to using just sponge filtration. The reason that I say that sponge filtration is the best is because there's always a worry when it comes to shrimplets when dealing with any kind of power filter, so a canister filter or a hang-on back filter. One way to deal with this problem is to simply cover your intake with some sort of sponge that has a small enough PPI, which is pores per inch, to not allow the shrimplets to pass through and get sucked up. Now let's talk tank mates. The best kind of tank mates for your shrimp are going to be smaller nanofish. However, even these nanofish, if they are hungry enough or if the shrimp is small enough, will still eat your shrimp, so sometimes shrimplets are still in danger. However, if you have enough cover in your tank, either with plants or some other sort of decor, your shrimp will more than likely be able to escape. Feeding your shrimp is relatively simple. You want to avoid overfeeding, as that will cause you to either have to do bigger water changes or more frequent water changes, neither of which shrimp are very fond of. 2 to 3 times a week in very, very small amounts, or just letting them get the extra fish food that your fish don't quite eat, is going to be just fine and plenty for them. One last thing about keeping shrimp is that any form of copper is going to be toxic for your shrimp. That means from medications or even sometimes from food. So please be sure to check your food labels and medication labels before using anything in a tank that contains shrimp. Now, this was just an overview video. I wanted to do something very quick for beginners just so they could see if they wanted to learn more about keeping shrimp or if that's something they want to come back to at a later date. I will be making more in-depth videos about everything that I've talked about in this video, including a few other things that I think are important to know when keeping shrimp. So if you liked this video or anything that you saw in it, please go ahead and drop me a like or a comment, and maybe subscribe as well, as I am really hoping to be doing 1 video a week minimum for the foreseeable future. Thank you so very much for your support, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!